to Yin Yoga, and we're going to hit the classic internal and external thighs today, sometimes called the abductors and adductors. They're often overlooked in our training schedules, but instrumental to stabilizing the knee joint and supporting all our movements, whether it's laterally or in the forward plane. Make sure you have equipment if you can find it: blocks, blanket, bolster, and a strap. I'm going to recommend a strap today. And start in Vajrasana, Thunderbolt pose. I'm sitting on a block on its edge like this. This gives me a very comfortable stretching sensation through the quadricep into the knee joint, down through the shin into the ankle, into the toes. Now some people who are a little tighter might take two of those blocks and stack them one on top of the other to get a bit more height. And some people are going to be quite happy just to sit on their heels. So you choose the level of delicious discomfort that works for your body. And as you sit there, I want you to start to press the knees and the shins into the mat a little bit and then relax them. Try that again. You press the shins and the knees, and as you do, brace the belly a little bit, embrace the core so you don't overarch, and then relax. So you're pulsing, pushing down through the shins, pulling the belly back just a tad, and then relaxing. So you're creating an isometric pump in the legs before we start. You can do it with the breath cycle if that works for you. And then bring the hands with the thumbs on the outside of the thighs, grip over the inner thighs, over the quads, and start to push. It's like you're trying to roll the inner thighs down to your mat. So you're kind of pulling the outer thighs with the thumbs and pushing the inner thighs with the fingers. Pull the navel in. And just hold this variation. It's almost like a little child pose, kneeling, with active legs, active abdominals. Pull that navel in. Now, as you do this, start to imagine pushing the outside of your shins towards the edges of the mat. The legs don't move, but the whole leg cavity is engaged. So feel all the vectors operating here. Shins into the mat, outer shins pushing out, inner thighs being pushed and rolled in, down towards the mat. For 3, 2, you're almost lifting off your block, and then relax. Come back to Thunderbolt, palms face up. Check in with your sensibility today, how you feel. Scattered or focused, intent or relaxed. One way or the other, or bits of each. and then gently adjust your seat. I'm going to stay on the block at that level, at the thinnest level of the block, ready for shoelace pose. Before shoelace pose, extending the legs, just letting the back of the legs release, toes curled back, drive out through the heels, and a slight hinge forward. Just engaging the back of the knees, releasing. And remember the vector dynamics we set up in the previous pose. Let's engage them now. So you're going to drive out through the heels and push the back of the calf muscles down into the mat. Imagine the outer shins pushing outwards towards the edges of the mat and the inner thighs rolling down towards the mat. Pull the navel back. Keep that engagement of the legs as you hold the forward fold. Heels down, outer shins outwards, inner thighs rolling down. And see if all these movements in any way help the forward hinge. Slowly come up, walk the hands up and bring that right knee underneath. Right foot. See if you can drop the right knee onto the ground. And if it doesn't reach, pad it with a blanket or towel. Left knee comes over the top. Coming into your classic shoelace here. And for the first time, really feeling that outer left thigh stretching out. Sit up tall, shoulders back and down. Just noticing where you feel the sensations alive in your experience right now. Relax the shoulders, sit up tall. We're going to go into a melting process. Like you're a big block of ice that's slowly melting in the heat of the day. And it's going to create a slight collapsing forward. So you're going to start to feel the torso melting towards the thighs incrementally, very gradually. Somebody looking at you mightn't even notice the movement. But over time, the leaning Tower of Pizza effect will start to become obvious in the torso. Keep the breathing smooth. And there will come a point where the center of gravity feels more comfortable by bringing the hands, the finger pads onto the floor. So they take a little bit of the weight and they give you a little more control over the melting process. That can control can come from different ways. The palms of the hands starting to flatten onto the floor. Or the elbows bending. Or the hands walking further out. So there's different ways you can melt more deeply and gradually. And at some point be cognizant of the back of the neck. Start to gradually lengthen the back of the neck by letting the chin drop towards the chest and the forehead coming towards the knee. Can you melt some more? Bring the hands back to the knee and push against the knee, letting the arms lift you up. And take the next minute to notice the sensations you feel. Allow the sensations you feel. And start to change sides. Find your posture, upright, tall. Notice what's already starting to shift in the hips, the outer thighs. Begin the melting process, taking 2 to 3 minutes to come into your full melt. So the beginning of the melting is simply a relaxation, an imperceptible leaning forward. always looking for that center of gravity moment where the upper limbs can control the melt. So time is on your side. Time is there to allow the concourse or discourse between the mind and the muscle, the mind and the joint, the mind and the what needs to let go. Just allow yourself to let go even more. Use the hands to press against the thigh to lift you up. And in the upright position, feel the echo of folded shoelace. As you come off your prop. Come off your prop, extend the legs, roll the inner thighs down, the outer shins out, keep the feet parallel as you push down through the back of the legs. So feel those 3 points of contact, inner thighs, outer shins, drive out through the heels. And notice how the feet want to compensate in any way here as you do that. They might be tempted to create their own formation. And then release, prepare for swan pose, or sometimes called pigeon pose. Come onto all fours. Little cat and cow here. And then sliding the left knee forward to the left wrist, swivel that left foot underneath the right hip. Curl the toes of the right foot and walk the right knee back until you start to feel that delicious stretch in the upper left thigh. Point the toes of that back foot, And come onto your elbows. Check in with your knee. If that left knee feels uncomfortable, awkward, at risk, support the left thigh with a towel or a blanket or a block. Micro sway left and right. Flare the elbows out wider, stack the fists on top of each other, and support the head with stacked fists. We're going to use and adopt the melting process here by changing the hand position. Take the top fist and make an open hand over the bottom fist so the head comes down a little lower. And then just come to one fist, so there's no hand on top of the fist, melting a little lower. And then just the open hand, forehead against one hand, or two, one or two. You can see where we're going. We go from two hands open to one hand open to the floor, if you can. Taking the time to melt. Bring the hands under the shoulders, straighten the arms to lift up the weight of the torso. Curl the toes of the back knee, lift that back knee and come onto all fours and extend just the left leg back for now and drive through the left heel. Come down onto the forearms. Keep stretching out through that left heel, left leg. Come up onto the hands and float that left leg into the air and just sway it from side to side. Bend the knee, look at the knee, and then straighten. All on the left side. Come back to tabletop. And this time sliding the right knee forward to the right wrist. Pivot the right foot under that hip. Curl and walk the left knee back. Oh, you get that delicious stretch. Point the toes and then come onto the elbows with stacked fists. Just coming into that first level of melting. Always be generous to the melting process. never rushing to get to the final stage. But each stage has its own delicious feedback for you. Each stage, perhaps whispering, stay here longer, or that's enough. What's each stage reveal to you? Let it be a two-way dialogue. Check your melting process. Where are you at? Not worried about anybody else's process. This is a felt experience. Ten more breaths if you can. Use the hands under the shoulders to lift you up. Lift the left knee and float the right leg back. Come onto all fours, cat and cow. Extend the right leg back and come onto your forearms to stretch out that right leg. Hands under shoulders as you float that right leg into the air and sway it side to side. And then some knee bends and straightens. Bends and straightens. And make your way onto your back. Ooh. I always like the first pose on the back to be TP pose. Remember, you can support the head, have a strap handy. And if the back feels okay, extend the left leg out and bring the right foot against the left leg into tree pose on the back. Invite the right hip to relax. Turn the head to the right. And reach the left arm up over the head, knuckles resting on the ground. Just remembering the upper body today. Rib opening, neck twist. Keep the shape as it is, and inhale the head to neutral, just the head. Relax the arm, change legs. Notice the left hip. Invite the left hip to relax. Exhale the head to the left. And reaching the right arm back over the head. Bring the head to neutral. And bring the right hand back. And bring both soles of the feet together into butterfly on the back. Try to find symmetry here. Micro adjust, make sure the shoulder blades are settled into the mat. Just notice any discrepancies between left hip and right hip. Clasp the hands behind the head. A little butterfly work here just to traction out the spine a little bit. Arch the back. Push the elbows out a little more. And then slowly bring the knees up together. Push the low back into the mat. Lift the head up off the ground. Wrap the skull and squeeze the skull and gently pull the back of the neck. Lower the skull, open the arms, the elbows and the knees. Arch the back, open the butterfly. Close the butterfly, knees together, feet on the floor, low back, press into the mat, lift the head, wrap the arms, squeeze the skull, lift the back of the skull. Lower the head, bring the arms out 90 degrees and cross one knee over the other into floppy shin. Let the flops stop. Walk the left foot a little closer to your hips. Push down with the left foot and lift the hips into the air. Roll onto the right hip. Let the knees fall to the right. Turn the head to the right. So let the arms be straight, coming out from the shoulders at 90 degrees. Unless you have furniture in the way, of course, and then you do your best. Keep the shape as you bring the head to the left. 5 more breaths here. Bring the head to neutral and the knees to neutral. Uncross the knees and come into TP pose. Notice the sensations in the body. And prepare for floppy shin on the other side. Left knee over right. Stop the flop. Adjust the right foot a little bit as you lift the hips. And then roll the knees and the hips to the left. Head to the right. And then keeping the shape, turn the head. I think I went backwards there. The head should be on the right now. Turn to the right. Inhale the head to neutral. Bring the knees to neutral. Come back to TP pose. Check the low back. And then grab a strap. Bring the right foot into the strap. Extend right foot to the sky. Extend left leg out. Keep the toes curled back. Come back to the melting ice metaphor. And this right leg that's straight up in the sky is going to start to melt slowly across the midline of the body to the left. So the left hand can hold the strap. And start to just to feel all through that outer thigh, keeping the right hip grounded. Keeping that right leg straight, toes curled back. Feel each melting increment without rush. See where that leg ends up. So melting means keeping the leg relaxed. Relax the belly. Now slowly bring back to vertical. Switch hands. We'll do a counter stretch to the other side. That right leg can come out to the right. And for the moment, just let the right leg come to the ground and relax. Strap can stay on the foot for a moment, but everything's relaxed with this splits. Bring the head to neutral if it's not already. Bring that errant leg back to neutral. Let's bend both knees. Come into TP pose for a moment. And then strap up the left foot. Extend the right leg out. So the left inner thigh the left inner groin is going to be where the melting starts to take place. The leg itself remains long, toes curled back, engaged. So the leaning Tower of Pizza effect starts to cross over the midline of the body over time. Keep waiting for the melt to occur as naturally as it can. You might only need the right hand to hold the stroke. Keep that left hip grounded. Time is on your side. This is truly a scientific experiment to notice, when does the sense organs in the hip say, yes, you can melt and relax here. Getting rid of this whole forced fit notion and feeling the surrender of where we're at. Gradually bring that leg back up and switch hands. And we'll come into a counter stretch out to the other side. You can let that left leg find the ground and relax into the splits. And then relax into Shavasana. Just feeling the release in the hips in Shavasana. Giving yourself permission to stay in Shavasana as long as you like. And when you're ready to transition from Shavasana, you can transition gently and gracefully. And with all the time in the world. Find your seat. Bring your hands together at the chest. Let the head bow in gratitude. Namaste. Thank you.